Hello, it's Annabelle here. A couple of days ago I said I was going to do a little series on preparing for leadership. So whilst most of my work is with entrepreneurs and business leaders who already have a company, they already have a working business model and they're looking to grow and scale that, here are some thoughts for those of you who might be working as a solopreneur, or maybe you've outsourced a few things but you're now ready to build a team and to start leading that team, obviously enough. Exciting times lie ahead. And there's a few things, as I said in my post, there's a few things that you should know, because when all of us start out, we have an idea in our heads as to what this is going to be like, what leading a team and leading a business, building a business is going to be like. And then we start to do it and it's like, oh, didn't see that coming. So this is like some of the things that you might want to consider, so that you do see those things coming, or when they do come around the corner and ready to smack you in the face, you're ready to bat them off, you're ready to deal with them. So in the course that I'm going to be launching in the next few weeks, Scaling with Leadership, I actually focus on 4 key specific areas, which is your clarity and your ability to communicate your vision and the stuff that you're doing as a leader, courage and how confident you are in various aspects of leadership that you need to develop, your capability. There's going to be some stuff that you're good at because that's why you're running a business, some stuff not so much, so that'll give you an idea. What do you need to learn, what do you need to unlearn? And character, leadership character is it's not personal brand, it's who are you to your team. So not the stuff that you say about yourself, but who you actually are with your team. But I'm placing that aside. I'm going to come on to that later on in the week and in the coming days. Today I wanted to focus on 3 specific leadership skills that, as you're looking to build your team, be aware that this is stuff that you must have. And if as I go through them you think, no, really not for me, then please be aware that you should endeavour to learn some of these skills, because that you're going to be a bit scuppered without them, or bring into your business somebody else who has these skills, so you can focus on the stuff that you're doing and other people will be able to do this. But these are 3 big ones. They're pretty cool, and those 3 things are emotional intelligence, communication skills, and the ability to let go in order to move on. And that's a huge mindset thing. So I'm just going to speak a little bit about each one. Now, emotional intelligence. Now, here's the thing. One of the things that I notice an awful lot online, and I think everybody can see why it's being done, is it's almost like, do you know what? It almost feels like people are pushing a personal brand at the expense of emotional intelligence. Now, that may well not be what's going on, but I'm just going to say it here because I'm thinking, watch out for this. There's very much a mood of like, this is who I am who I am, and who I am needs no excuses, I'd be thankful I didn't sing that. I am who I am, and if you don't like me, well, you can just get lost, because you're not my ideal client. Now that's fine. If Elaine, hi, how are you? That's great if you're looking to qualify prospects and so on. It's actually quite dangerous if you bring that into your leadership portfolio of behaviours. This kind of I am who I am, if you don't like it, lump it. There really ought to be a balance between that and emotional intelligence. And by emotional intelligence, I mean, very straightforwardly, being aware of your impact on other people. Because Lelaine says, hi Annabelle, wanting to learn more about leadership. Well, you're in the right place. I hope I can share 1 or 2 things that will be useful to you, Lelaine, because you are so far ahead along the road on that game. I always love looking at your posts and what you're up to next. On Facebook and Instagram and everywhere. I practically stalk you online, Lelaine. So yeah, emotional intelligence. What is your impact on other people? Because when you're looking at your prospects, it doesn't matter. People are self-selecting. They either like you and they want to work with you, or they go, oh, that Beckwith woman, what a moron, and they'll go away. One of the things you don't want with your in-house team is for them to be polarised about who you are as a leader, because if people are polarised within your team, they're going to be pulling in different directions. That is not going to help your business move forward. So I hope that makes sense. So in terms of emotional intelligence, what I'm actually meaning is there's like five things. So this is based on the work of Daniel Goleman, who wrote who's written loads of books on emotional intelligence, all of the titles of which have suddenly run from my mind. I think working with emotional intelligence was definitely one of them. However, so there's 5 steps here. The first thing is knowing yourself. So self-awareness is critical. What's your impact on others? Managing yourself and managing your emotions. Now, that does not mean squashing your emotions. If perhaps, let's say a team member is dropping the ball, they're not doing what they're meant to be doing, it's not about saying, right, I've got to bottle it up, I've got to bottle it up. No, it's not about that. It's about managing your emotions. You still deliver the message that you need to deliver, but you're not losing the plot. Do you know, I've worked with bosses who would literally stand over me and shout in my face, which was deeply unpleasant, but that was not emotional intelligence. That was an outburst. It's not helpful. So being able to manage yourself in the moment, being able to motivate yourself is going to be hugely important. Because you're driving your business forward. Yeah, there's going to be stuff that you work through, because there's stuff that we all have to wade through that we might not be entirely happy with. But you have to be able to recognise when you yourself are starting to feel a little bit cheesed off with the whole thing, and to know what to do yourself in order to remotivate yourself and get your head back in the game. Because other people, that's important anyway, to be honest, but other people are now looking to you, and if they see your enthusiasm flagging, then that might be problematic for them. Now, balance that with the managing your emotions piece. What I'm not saying is that you've got to be, hey, everything's great, because people will sense that insincerity. What I am saying is know how to motivate yourself. The 4th step is to understand other people, and this is absolutely massive. Understand that other people are not like you. They're not like me. They think in a different way. They have different perceptions. They come to any situation with a different background and baggage. They are different. And whilst it might be convenient to say, well, I'm the leader, they should understand me. You will get more out of people if you understand them. You will be better able to delegate to them because you will understand them and you will know how to position things to them. You will be better able to influence not just your own team, but suppliers, contractors, clients, etc. Because you have learned how to understand people. It's understanding the other person. And having some compassion with them, perhaps, recognizing that in any situation, there's at least going to be 2 sides to the story, yours and theirs, and there might be a dozen others as well. But that your way isn't it's not your way or the highway, if that makes sense. Understanding others is going to be critical. And once those things are in place, then you can begin to build meaningful interpersonal relationships. Now, again, a lot of the focus online is on selling and marketing. And yes, of course, revenue generation is going to be critical for any business that's growing, or particularly for the individual who's now looking to grow their team, because you need that revenue in, because you need to pay people now. It's not just you, it's them too. However, emotional intelligence and working with your team in a particular way will put you in a better position to be a strong leader for them. You know what? Managers who aren't emotional intelligent, who tend to sort of treat their staff not particularly well, will find that they will lose good people. And the people who are left are the ones who really can't do anything else, or don't want to do anything else, or possibly not the people they actually want in their business, and it becomes a negative cycle. So emotional intelligence and being aware of your impact on other people is absolutely crucial. There are articles in Harvard Business Review and so on that point categorically to how important emotional intelligence is to all leaders. Successful leaders have emotional intelligence. Okay, I'm labouring the point, but that's because it's massively important. Now, the second thing that is a skill that absolutely has to be developed is communication. Because you need to be able to clearly explain your strategy and your goals and where you're going as a business. You need to be able to do that so that your team can pick up on it and follow it. However, sometimes what happens is that people will, and me as well, I'm chuckling as I say that because I'm thinking about myself. When we think about, how can I communicate better? What we're actually thinking is, how can I explain myself more clearly? And that's important. However, communication needs to go further than that. The leader must learn to listen to the team. And to listen without judgment. I think sometimes it's really, and maybe this comes back to emotional intelligence, it's easy for leaders to think, right, well, I'm the boss here. I need to know all the answers. I need to give all the instructions. Well, you're not hiring robots. You're hiring people who are good at their jobs, who are fulfilling a purpose, who ideally are going to grow with your business. So, give them some leeway to actually develop their own skills and do things for your business. We're not looking at Attack of the Clones here and hiring people who are going to do exactly what you tell them. You're looking for people who actually have the skills and the wherewithal to do those things themselves. So listen to them and also ask questions. If you're, as the business leader, moving on to look at other things, more strategic things, or business development while they're involved with service delivery, let's say, or something else, ask them questions, because in their environment they will be gathering information from different sources, or at the very least have a different perspective on what's going on. You will learn much by talking to them. Don't know if it has kind of rolled out elsewhere around the world, but there's oh, hi Colin, I haven't seen you for ages. There was a great programme that was on here in the UK, and it was called Undercover Boss. Now, I know I've mentioned this in previous Facebook Lives, but I'm going to mention it again. And basically, some big cheese, the chief executive, or if his face was too well known in the business, a finance director or somebody, would disguise themselves a little bit and then go back and work at the till in the supermarket, or in the car mechanics office of car mechanics garage of the mechanics chain or something, like at the coal face. And they would always learn significant things that they had no idea about their customers, about how the team worked, about the manager in that particular. They learned so much because they were in amongst it. They were there at the coal face. Oh, hello, Kyle. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. So the point I'm making is, like, those leaders were there at the coal face, and they could do nothing but observe what was going on, ask questions of the people that they were working with, and listen to them. Obviously enough, you don't need to put yourself in that extreme situation, but just be aware that when we talk about leadership communications, we're not simply talking about the ability to explain yourself and explain your strategy. We are crucially talking about listening to your team and asking them the right questions to gather information, valuable information from them. And do you know what? A couple of times online, I've seen people posting, and it might be one of those contentious posts, designed to stimulate debate. But I've seen a few people saying, the thing is, most people just want to be told what to do. No. Yes, it's true that when people, if people are new to a role, then they need guidance. They do need to be told what to do because they don't know. But as a leader, if what you are doing as a leader is constantly instructing your people what to do, you're not leading them, you're pushing them. You're pushing them. And there's a big difference between that. Is exhausting. And the more, if that's your habitual style, the more you do that, the more you're just instructing people what to do and expecting them to follow your instructions to the letter, the less and less inclined people are to offer suggestions. You'll always be pushing them. And then it becomes a vicious cycle, because you'll think, well, do you know what? People just want to be told what to do. No. Move away from that, if that's what you do, move away from that as quickly as you possibly can, because that's going to burn you out, and that's going to do nothing to help your business. People who want to grow and thrive with your business will go because you do nothing but tell them what to do. The ones who stay are the ones who really aren't. No, oh, you didn't tell me to do that, so I didn't do it. They're not the people that you want in your business. As an aside, when people say most people just want to be told what to do, what they actually mean, I think, is most people want to be told what to do, but not me. Not me. Most people, not me. I'm one of the superior beings who does the telling. Watch out for that. Communication is not just about telling people what to do. Listen, blend it all with emotional intelligence so you understand your team, you understand the people who are working with you and for you. Ask them questions. These are things that are going to make them want to follow you, almost they're going to want to follow you as a leader, rather than well, you know what, company's not doing so well, I'm off, there's a better offer elsewhere. As a slight aside, you'll have heard it said that people will join companies, people will join businesses, they will leave managers, they will leave leaders. So Lelena said, I've noticed when your team members love doing stuff for you because they love the way you, they love the way you lead, they strive to do things with initiative to make you happy. The happier you are as a leader, the happier your team, the more room to grow your business. It has a ripple effect on your clients too. You're absolutely right, Lelaine, you are absolutely right. And it's not to say that we've got to be happy and cheerful all the time, but your leadership persona, your leadership style, which is who you are, it's not just your brand and what you're saying about yourself, it's absolutely who you are with your team is critical. There's a quote from Richard Branson that's been flying around on LinkedIn, where he says, people say that your customers are the most important factors of your business, and he says, no, your staff are, because your staff and your employees serve your customers. So, as you say, you know, if you can get to a situation where your people will follow you, like great leaders in history, you know, they might have been down at hill, there's a bedraggled army trudging through the mud, but they will not leave their leader through thick or thin. They will not leave their leader because they believe in what that leader is doing. They're gravitating towards them for reasons that are stronger than a wage packet or whatever else. So that was emotional intelligence and communication. And the third thing, this is a big old mindset thing, as you start to build and grow your team, is to learn to let go and move on. Elaine says they would also aspire to become the type of leader like you. That's a good point as well. I mean, they'll have their own leadership style that they bring, but that, do you know what, Elaine, that actually leads me to think about, they will want to become a leader like you, but they will see, if you are a good leader, they will see, they'll see what they want to become. They'll bring their own personality to their leadership role, but you know, I'm sure I'm not the only one, we've had bosses and managers and leaders where you think, merciful heaven, if I ever treat people like that, take me into a field and shoot me. You know, we look at people and go, God, please don't let me turn out like that. We learn what not to do from poor leaders. Be the role model and the example where people think, yeah, that's the leader that I want to be like. I was lucky enough to work with somebody, well, about 25 years ago, at the very start of my career, who was like that, who I aspired to be like. And we've reconnected on LinkedIn. We're still friends. She's got a PhD now. We're hoping to work together in the future. But she was somebody that I thought, yeah, what would Leslie do? Be that leader. Be that leader. So my third thing, just quickly, is the ability to let go and move on. And in order to move on and grow, you have to let go. There's going to be certain things that no longer serve you as a leader. Oh, hi, Louise. Thank you for joining us. There's going to be certain things that you need to let go of. Now, some of those, as you hire out your team, you're going to go, oh, thank goodness, the spreadsheets and forecasts. There's going to be certain things where you think, hallelujah, I can pass this on to somebody else. There's going to be other things that you actually quite enjoy doing. You think, no, I quite like doing that. I'm going to hold that to myself. Now, that might be fine, because you might think, right, as the leader of this business, I'm going to focus in this area, and these are the bits that I'm going to let go. But watch out for that. Are you holding on to things that actually you should be delegating because you like doing them too much, or you don't think, they're not going to do it as well as me? Oh, it would just be quicker to do it myself. We will rationalise ways for not delegating things. And whilst there's some fairly straightforward sort of process steps for delegation, decide what to delegate, decide the best person to delegate to. The biggest thing that stops people delegating is an inability to move on. And if you've been working on your own, maybe outsourcing one or two bits and pieces, you will feel a tremendous compulsion to hold on to stuff for whatever reason. Maybe you don't think somebody else is going to do it as well as you. Maybe you think, oh, I don't. Maybe I should be doing this myself. Maybe I shouldn't pass it on. You really have to be able to let go. And when you do delegate, give clear instructions. And I'm going to be talking about delegating a little bit later on in this kind of mini series. But when you do delegate, don't just dump stuff and leave somebody to get on with it. You know, check in with them, but don't check up on them. Check in with, don't check up on, because that becomes micromanaging. And again, you know, I know people who will delegate a task and then you find, oh God, you did it yourself. You asked me to email so-and-so and then you did it. What was the point of that then? Or you're set a task and they're kind of, oh, I was just wondering how you were getting on. Oh, were you indeed? Or could you not let go? And actually where that letting go and moving on piece comes into the communication and the emotional intelligence is that mindset thing, that hearts and minds thing of actually developing trust with your team. Really work hard to develop trust with your team. If you can trust your team to do stuff, and they won't do it in exactly the same way that you do, because they're different people. If you can trust your team, then that is the foundation for a really, really strong culture within your business. But trust can't be faked. People might say, yes, I trust you, but what they do will indicate very, very clearly whether or not they actually trust you. So those were just 3 things that I wanted to just draw your attention to. If you are looking to build and grow your team, here are 3 things that if you might think, yeah, I'd kind of do that. That's the sort of person I am. Brilliant. Leverage those skills because they're valuable leadership skills. If you're thinking to yourself, no, I tinker about writing bits of software, I'm really not great at that side of things, then these are skills that you can learn because we're all human beings, we can all learn stuff. It might not ever be the most enjoyable part of what you do, but as a leader, if you're planning to lead people, you need to have emotional intelligence, be able to motivate yourself, have a sense of self-awareness, be aware of your impact on other people, and you're not just your impact on other people in a kind of, well, that's who I am, get over it. Your impact on other people is actually going to have an impact on your bottom line. Because as Lelaine was saying, if people want to work for you, they want to follow you as a leader, they will put in extra effort on your behalf. If they think you're a bit of a moron and they're just here for a job, then they won't. And you're not going to be, you're more likely to be pushing them than leading them. So be aware of emotional intelligence, your communication skills, which yes includes your ability to communicate your vision and strategy and guide people as to what you want them to do, but it also must include the ability to listen to people without judgment, without thinking, well, I'm the boss, so my word. Listen without judgment and then evaluate what people are saying and to ask questions of people as well. You've got a team now, leverage their knowledge, leverage their skills, and part of that is learning to let go, because you don't buy a dog and then bark yourself when the burglar comes into the garden. Bring other people on and allow them to fulfill their roles. These 3 things, they sound so straightforward when you just talk about them like this, or when you see them written about in a book or whatever. When you're working through it, because so much of it is to do with leadership mindset, they can be more of a challenge, especially if they're not part of day-to-day habit. We've all been there and stuffed up basically on all these fronts. It's always a learning process. It's always an ongoing journey. But those 3 things: emotional intelligence, communication, including listening and questioning, and learning to let go in order to move on. 3 really important things as you grow and scale your business. Thank you for joining me on the live. I am going to be talking about some other factors to consider as you're preparing for leadership later in the week. And I'll see you then. Bye for now.